Hey, how y'all doing out there? It's Nikki Scarpo, thank you for tuning in to Unapologetically Black once again. All right.
Hey, how y'all doing? This your boy Izzy, aka Wildstar with your Hootie Gang up in here. Glad to be back on this great Monday night. How you doing out there, brother?
I'm blessed by the best, family. How about you?
Good, man. A little tired, bro. We had a long weekend, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah, that's the flesh. The flesh get tired. You know what I'm saying? The God don't. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So it all depends on when you saying I don't get tired. It all depends on if you know who you are. You know what I'm saying? You talking about that body, you a damn lie. Straight up, your ass get tired. I know we're supposed to pick up from where we left off. But y'all can get me at all the social media, IG, FB, you know what I'm saying, at Nikki Scarpo right there. Now I carry Christ inside, saying chapters around us, poetically organized. Hallelujah. All right.
Yeah, you can find me at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Yehudi Gang. Also, you can find me under my artist name at Wildstar on all platforms as well. Right. Also, check out Atmosphere Candles. That's my candle business. Me and my wife have. We do 100% soy candles. We actually do coconut soy wax now, so it's even better. But it's all natural, 100%. So definitely reach out to you, boy. We got those products for you, and they're very healthy.
Most definitely, that's right. But buy black. You know what I mean? For sure.
Yeah, get Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, hey, we support everybody else.
Right.
We need to support ourselves. It's just that simple. Now, where we left off, okay. I know that I was trying to tail in on you. Basically, you was in Africa, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. You was in Africa, all right. And we was talking about the language that people don't know about and all of that.
Right.
We were talking about like different religions and different gods and whatnot, and I was like, well, I wanted to speak on that, and it was the fact that in the Bible, it's a scripture. I don't know what's up with my face. It's like I'm like on some. Oh, okay. In the scripture, y'all gotta forgive me. I'm not a pastor, a preacher, a Bible thumper. I'm not a theologian, whatever theologian. Woo, woo, woo. I'm not there. Okay, but it's in the Bible. You're seeking, you shall find. All right. So it speaks on every man. This is like, I guess, the coming of the New Jerusalem, or when Jesus comes, or reigning with Jesus for 1,000 years, somewhere around there. But it spoke on them bending their swords up in the plowshares, and there would be war no more, basically. All right. And then after that, it went on to say that, like, making a long story short, that every man would sit under his fig tree with his God. And that just blew me away. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Y'all done brought me all this way. Hold on, we was led out of Egypt, right? And Moses got on the Hebrews' heads for having the golden calf and all of that, and now here we go, fast forward to the New Testament. I mean, right before the New Testament, and they talking about we gonna have, no war, but we gonna all have our own God. That really is confusing. I'm not wrong, I don't think, for being confused right there.
But no, you're not, because it does say that there, and it's in Micah 4.
Micah, I knew it was Malachi, Micah.
One of them hymns. Yeah, no, it's Micah 4 and verse 5. Actually, it says, "For all people will walk, everyone, in the name of his God, and we will walk in the name of the Lord our God forever and ever."
Mm-hmm.
So that's the key thing, right? Like, when people read the Bible, they read it in a way that's like, they read it as this all-inclusive like literature, right? So when you look at it in context, from the creation of everything, right? You get in Genesis, the Most High creating, all life on earth, like, fish, yada yada, all the people on earth, because it says male and female, he created them. And we know by the fact that Adam wasn't the only person created. So like that, there's a lot of stuff you gotta dispel
about. People pass up, they leave because see, and I don't mean to cut you off, but that's because there is a curriculum that is being adhered to in the Orthodox
Right.
Church. You see, because I know that I can say, because what I know has been tested, tried, and proven. I don't say I know it if I ain't been through it, if I haven't witnessed it. So I've been to several congregations and noticed all of the similarities. And it's an issue when you expecting certain things and you turned off by certain things. It's kind of like when somebody in a relationship and it's some characteristics that they remember from that. And they're like, as soon as they see a sign, they're like, oh, that's it. It's a wrap. Out of there. You know what I'm saying? Ship, you off. But for sure.
Facts. Straight facts.
So it made me think like, okay, now this is something that they really have signed up to. You see, like, if you don't,
that's why they got
it's all kind of other stuff that's involved. It's a reason why they have to stick to a particular script. You can't a college, for example, you know what I'm saying, or a tech school or whatever. Like, in order to be accredited, you got to be teaching this particular lesson, and you got to have a certain amount of credit hours. Like, anybody can take a state board, true enough, but what makes it accredited is the hours that you have to put in. You can have what they taught us about Abraham Lincoln, 16th president. You heard me say it now, say it again. I said it before, but that's let us know we could be self-taught, but who gonna back you?
Right.
Who gonna back you? Just like Abraham Lincoln, he the only one on some copper pointing the other direction. I'm like, I ain't looking for nothing extra. I'm just saying, dude, different. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, you see, but if you don't have a mentor or mother, father, somebody you can get this information from, that you just like, that's the nail on the head, even though it's so much more that you got to say in order for people to get that.
I mean, you definitely need somebody to like vet your train of thought to make sure you're on the right path. And like I said, a lot of this also is just like being unbiased with how you search for truth. Like, a lot of times people are biased in how they look for information. So like, I mean, we were all taught, Adam and Eve, ate an apple, this, that. And it's like, people ain't really like breaking down the real context of like what's happening. So like back to the point, right? So you have let's say in the beginning, right? You have Adam and Eve, right? And then
appreciate that.
Whenever they have their son, Cain and Abel, it's like one of the first things you got to start, like, to just peel away all these different layers of stuff, is like you gotta start at the beginning, really. Like, okay, just know that there was a whole lot of people there. There was like a whole lot of people that existed first. Otherwise, how did Cain have a wife? How did Cain go to a land called Nod? Like, who named Nod? Who built these places? Over here, where did where did they have this stuff? Where's his wife's dad at? Right? Where's his? Because the first two kids that it talks about is Adam, and Eve, or in Hebrew we call it Chava. They had Cain and Abel. Later on, you hear about Adam's other children, because he had like 35 other kids later on that you don't hear about. But the whole point is, it's like the context of the Bible is specified through specific people. So you started off with Adam, and then you have Cain and Abel. Abel was the one that was chosen in a sense, or he was the one that had that special line, that special line in order to naturally in order to
please God,
be in his favor, right? To please him. Like, you see when they bring their offerings, right? Abel's offering was accepted, and it's not that Cain couldn't have gotten his offering accepted. It was just Abel came with the first of what he had. He came with the best of what he had, versus Cain just kind of getting some stuff together. So that was the whole point of that thing. It wasn't that, oh, God just didn't like it was just like, it's how you come, like how you
presentation.
How you, like
make it like the picture, baby. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. That's what brought me here.
Exactly. And so from there, Cain killed Abel, and then they have Seth, and Seth's name actually means to like reimburse or replenish, meaning Seth was the replacement for Abel, which is why when you read in Genesis 4:26, it says, after Seth was born, it says, then begin men to call upon the name of Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, meaning this was very special about this person, because prior to this, people weren't calling on the name of the Most High like that. So it's like it's specifying. So you get from there, then you get Noah, right? You still got all these people that exist and stuff, but the Most High chose Noah, right? Go do this mission. I got this mission from you. Then from there, Noah and his, kids, they spread out, and then they start, doing, basically building other civilizations in other places too. And then you get all the way down, but this whole time you're following a family. Like, you're following a family line. Like, it's not talking about all these other people over here. It's talking about this line, right? This lineage. So when it talks about other people, when you go back to that scripture in Micah, how it talks about every man will walk with his God, or in the name of his God, but it says, and we will walk in the name of the Lord our God. Our is a possessive word, meaning this pertains to these people. Not to say that other people can't go and follow this, because we know this, like, we know that other people go into other beliefs and stuff all the time, but this God had specifically chosen a specific people in order to basically make a contract with, because that's what you see a lot of stuff is like contractually, like, hey, I'm going to do this for you, this is what I need you to do for me, and like, do for me, yada yada. So when we're really establishing this, we got to realize, like, why do you think you have so many people with different religions out here, different people with different belief systems, right? Like, I mean, you see this in the Bible, but even just taking away the Bible, just looking in real life, like, we know people serve, even right now, like, look in Hollywood, right? You have people that serve Baphomet, you have people that serve this deity, you have people that serve what is it, the Pope's hat and everything, like, if you look
Egypt.
at it, how it looks like a fish, like, that's from the god Dagon, which is a fish god.
But isn't that an Egyptian? Isn't its origin in Egypt, if I'm not mistaken? Like the same headdress, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
it could be. I know for a fact, like, that specific model, like, I mean, because it was all in the region of Africa, so I mean, it's very plausible that it could have originated, or those people migrated. Because when you look at Egypt was like a hub of, Egypt was basically kind of like America. Like, Egypt, when it came together, what they call ancient Kemet, it wasn't like Egyptians as this one race of people. It was a culmination of different people. You have like Nubians and people that are Syrians over here, like ancient, Black or African races, if you would, came together to build the hub, which was ancient Kemet, aka Egypt. How you got there, but
Kebulon is another one that we don't hear. But I mean, I'm not even trying to really. Yeah, I don't want to go there.
Right. But yeah, no. But like I said, it's just the point that everybody had deities, right? Everybody served like other gods. Like, when you read the story of Jonas and the whale, right? When Jonah was in the boat, those other dudes had completely other deities that they served. But then all of a sudden they saw the power of Yehovah, and they were like, forget this.
And like, what you do? What you do to piss God off, bro?
Right. And then he was like, and then he, there was like, oh, throw him off the boat. Like, the Lord said, hey, you better get this dude off the boat, or I'm gonna capsize this mug. So they like, hey, woo, because at that point you seeing some power from a power that you've never witnessed before, and you've heard rumors about it. Like, that's the thing. Like, people have heard stories and rumors about this deity. That's why when you go in other passages in the Bible, they're like, oh yeah, we heard about y'all. Oh, we heard about what y'all doing, yada yada yada. So like, that's the thing. Like, people understood that, like, this deity, this God, was for these people. Like, just like the same thing in Egypt, right? You don't associate the god Ra with some other people over here, right? Like, no, the people that were worshiping that deity were the Egyptians. People that were worshiping Anubis were Egyptians.
But we see the similarities, right? You do see, we are going to say that we pause for a second and say, well, we do see similarities. But I mean, you say Ra, but then the Hebrew is what? Yah. And then you got Yahweh. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken. You see,
I
so
mean,
then we
you
say,
can, because the language system in that region was similar. Like they so when you go into like the ancient Canaanite language and stuff, which is where the Hebrew derived from, really, like when you start going into these other languages and seeing that like you're gonna have similarities because of the regions that they were in, which is why like Aramaic sounds similar to Hebrew, which is also why you can, even when you go into like certain like even now like Spanish, right? For Saturday is sábado, which Sabbath, you know, it's so
it's the
you're
same.
seeing,
And see, my wife and I, Paul, stop right there. So my wife and I was just talking about this, bro. We actually had a book that we got from the library, like Hebrew and all that. And when we looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute, this kind of look like Spanish. They got, I'm like, it's masculine and feminine. I'm like, damn.
yep,
So I hate
very
Spanish. It's
similar.
nothing against my Hispanic, my Latino people. I love y'all. I'm saying the language. When they waited to high school to teach it to me, I didn't like it. I'm just gonna say, I wish I would have stuck through it and had more patience, But anyway, but I'm like, dang. So American English or English must be the only language, since this is the new world. Woo, 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 that is this one. Like it's just the masculine, or you have to determine what is being said. He, she, woo, all right. You see what I'm saying? But even at the core, as far as the faith, when we're talking about the Father and the Son, now my brother, what up, Saz? Was just telling me that in Islam, when they talk about Adam and Eve, they referring to masculine and feminine and like science in a sense, and it's not to be taken literally, and et cetera, et cetera. But if you're not taught that, then you don't look at it for what it is, face value. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like I said, like to not like, because you got to remember, like the prior to the book being written down, everything was orally. So like names would be slightly different because the language that it's written in wasn't even around when these events happened. So it's like you have to also, that's why I research a lot. You go back a little bit further, you can see it, and it doesn't take away from the fact that the story could differ just because of a name, but the events and what took place and the basically like the values of what it is that you're believing. Because the whole point is like you're believing in this book for a reason, right? Like you're trying to get something out of this, at the end of the day. And a lot of times understanding the context of why people are going through stuff, why they're dealing with these deities in that way. I mean, because everybody has a choice. I mean, you can go serve whatever God you want to right now. Like some people's God is money. They finna just serve money. Some people's God is another person in general. Like some people serve a man as if they are their God. I mean, even to the point now where you have, and just please, don't try to shoot the messenger on this one, but how people worship Jesus, right? Like they worship Jesus as if Jesus is God, and it's not, and that's just.
I mean, Christ even said, "Get up, what you don't bow down to me." But in the scripture, the words are painting the picture of a man in the physical form. So get up, don't bow down to this flesh. You see, so that's really what it is. So, like, hey, okay, yeah, we gonna get to the root of it. Like, yeah, okay, so Nicky Scarfo, yeah, now I carry Christ inside. I didn't say Jesus. All right, so I'm not going to take away from the name. But when we say it's power in the name, you got to know where the power began. You see what I'm saying? Because there was no letter J. Once again, I reiterate, okay, until the 16th century, all right, King James, who, if there was no J, then that means that was not his name either. But I'm not going to go there. So I'm just saying. So if Christ was here for 2,000 years, almost basically, AD, whatever, and it don't matter, whatever, and whatever, it don't matter. At the end of the day, he was already here. Okay. So if we are supposed to say that there's power in the name, then why change it? And we go through
but that's the thing too. It's like
we got all of that. But what about Yeshua? But they gave us Joshua in the Old Testament right before, we going into the promised land. He was the successor to Moses. You see,
Mm-hmm.
but if you know that the J wasn't there, then you put the Y there, which was what the J replaced, and now you got Yeshua. And the New Testament is supposed to be Jesus, right? Okay, so if Yeshua was the successor to Moses, that's what the New Testament is to the Old Testament, and you see the similarities in the Old to the New.
But I would say you see like I said, that's where, as far as me personally, when you start getting into the nitty gritty, you'll start seeing a lot of differences too, which is why I personally only subscribe to the Old Testament.
Well, I'm not speaking on those similarities like I'm trying to use them to prove any said point.
No,
Okay?
yeah. No.
I'm saying that those similarities are proof of the curriculum.
Right. Yeah.
Man, these people are ahead, man.
It's
they
just,
playing
it's
chess.
just in those. It's with that. That's how they've kind of started to warp people's minds, though, right? Is because a lot of times when people are reading, they're not bringing that previous information with them, and then they're reading new information that keeps getting reiterated to them, and then that starts to become like the foundation. Like most of the time when you go to church, they start off in the New Testament. They don't start from the Old Testament, right? So how are you going to go from the?
There you go.
If you want to call it a full book, how are you going to go to the second half or part two? That's like watching the Justice League movie, right? And skipping
right.
to
it's
two
like
hours
watching
into
Empire
the movie.
Strikes Back before you see Star Wars and all of that. You know,
like you ain't gonna know. You ain't gonna know what's going on, what's set up, how the rules apply. Like, and so like that's the thing. Like that's when you start to realize certain issues, right? That come up with that. I also see a question down here. Hold on, I want to get to that.
I haven't seen one. I've been trying to check in and look, you know, but I haven't seen the comment. Yeah, please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, do all that. You know.
So let me ask y'all this: do we just use the Bible to find the truth and seek it out, or do we look at other ancient texts? No, I definitely look at everything. Like I said from the previous episode, the Torah is my foundation. So like that's where I find the best core values that apply to my life that you know that I personally find beneficial to me. So like whenever I'm going and doing the things that I do that apply to the Torah, like that, I see the fruit, the benefit of that in my own personal life. So that's why I stick with that, you know, and but like I said, that doesn't limit me from researching other stuff. Like sometimes people can get locked into a box and, you know, it's like, oh, this is the only thing I read. Like I said, like I read a lot of ancient texts dealing with like ancient Mesopotamia. Like I've read stuff like with the epics of Gilgamesh. Like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that like when you start cross-examining, but I also like look really deep. So one of the things they talked about is like, you know, the story of Moses, right? And I forget the name of it's in the like the text, the ancient text. There was another guy. I forget his name. It's very long. You could look it up. It should be in the epic. Google Man. If you look in the epic of Gilgamesh, you should find another character very similar to Moses that goes through that similar journey.
But Jesus is similar because they tried. He had to go to Egypt. They was trying to kill him. It was the same thing. That the king had issued, you know, a bounty on his head and all of that. It's just that's the similarities that I'm talking about.
Yeah. They call it a similitude. It's like you're watching history repeat itself in variations. So yeah, and I mean, because we're watching it kind of play out like that the same, right? Like we are a people taking here, because like that's the thing. Like we all like the whole point of this topic was like, where do we come from, right? So like you got to start asking yourself these hard questions. If we're not the people of this book, right? And it talks about the people of this book, the Israelites, how they would be persecuted and things of this nature. Like, why are we the only people in America getting jacked up the way that we are? And then not just in America, when you go to other countries, it's not all black people that this is happening to, because they try to generalize us as like, because we're all skin colored black, that we're the same. But you're seeing African Americans being targeted versus you our other African brothers out there being targeted, right? Like
when you say African Americans, you mean African Americans as in migrated, immigrated from Africa, like free will.
No, the ones who were like either the ones who were here normally, who were the original Native Americans, or the ones who were taken over during the slave trade. So those of us who have been what they call the diaspora, right? Like those of us, I mean, like you can tell from us just genetically, right? You can tell the difference between somebody who is quote unquote Kenyan versus your typical African American. Like body structure is different, skull structure is different. Like they've even gone into the science and like looked and compared skulls from slaves and skull like in America versus those in Africa, right? And they can just tell by the size and shape, bone density. Like our bones are denser. That's why we come out bigger and stronger than more people, which is generally why you see us in football and more physical sports. And then you see a lot of our native African people more in running, like fast sports stuff that have to do with endurance. So like there's a clear, difference between us as a people. But like I said, they try to just generalize us together. But what I'm saying is you only see us being targeted like that. Like every now and then you may see something, but on the general, you're going to see your African Americans getting targeted. So it's like the question is why? Like it's not everybody that's getting targeted like that.
So that's what I'm saying. See, you hit you touched on, but I feel you hit the nail on the head. For me, I know that's what I felt. When you say it's not just Black people or African Americans, it's like, so why? See, I feel like it's all symbolism. And when I say Christ is my savior, it's because I wouldn't know what I know if I wouldn't have took that pathway and went through that door. But once I did, I'm like, I saw things just like, okay, no, that's out of place. No, that's a distraction. No.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, definitely.
What? Because I hear that a lot, right? People say Christ is their savior. So
Christ is a title. See, if you in jail, bro, and you ain't got enough money for no bail, bro, and you ain't got no representation, you see what I'm saying? Then you find a way to get out, and that way was somebody that came and showed it to you. You see, so I remember Pop said one time, he was locked up. He was talking about, it was some brothers in there saying that they God. And he like, well, then give the key, then unlock this cell and then go, no, but then you're not God.
Right.
But, and I say that, you know what I'm saying? Like humbly, it's like God took 6 days, according to the scripture. Now I'm just talking now, you know what I'm saying? So we were talking about Adam and, so Eve or whatever. Okay. So, but it was 6 days to create. It was a process. And on the 7th day, he rested. So, and after that 7th day, that's when the garden was made. But that's another episode. So, but man and woman, you know what I'm saying, was created already in them 6 days, along with all of the other stuff. You see? So it's a process. So if you know the formula, if you know how your mind works, you know the tools. It's like what they say, my people perish from a lack of knowledge. Yeah, I go to the scriptures because that's my foundation. Like I wear a cross on my neck, not because I'm a Christian, because it was my grandfather's. You see what I'm saying? So what this cross mean to me ain't what it mean to you. You see, or somebody else. You see, I did this aunt or whatever, the sun, you know what I'm saying? I got my balance, my yin and my yang, you know what I'm saying? I got all my roots, but I'm going to soar above it all at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I'm spreading my wings, baby. You know what I'm saying? That's symbolic of the Most High right there. Like I said, when an eagle see another eagle, he know that only can be an eagle if that eagle is soaring at its highest height. It's either that another eagle or an airplane.
Or airplane.
That's it. Ain't nobody else be up here.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I wouldn't think that way if I wouldn't have taken that path. So at the same time, if you're paying attention and you truly are seeking after it with an open heart, you see, and you do adhere to what the scripture's saying, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Okay, well, that's how the 10 commandments were summed up into 2 when they say that Christ said, love your Father in heaven as he loves you, and love your brother and sister like you love yourself. Okay. So because all of the commandments are either dealing with sins against the Most High or sins against your brother and your sister. You see what I'm saying? So, but we can get all that extra out of the way if you just treat people the way you want to be treated. But if you don't love yourself, then you might not have a high standard of expectation of how you should be treated. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, if you are seeking how to love yourself, and we're told that we have to love God first before we do that. It's an order it's a process that's taking place.
Hey,
You
but
see,
where's God at?
I'm looking at him right now.
Hey,
You ever saw?
so it all
Hey,
goes back to you gotta love yourself first, because if the Most High is within you, then you gotta love you. Hey, there you go, kings of the blacktop. Love.
We appreciate you for sure.
Appreciate
Like that
you.
confirmation, we need it, more of it, most definitely.
Exactly. Like
We ain't just
like I
trying to
said,
be
like
long-winded, but hey, that's what this is
yeah,
about. Because I want my people to know where we come from. If we can locate it on the globe, on the map, so be it. But I ask anybody, like, okay, all right, we black. Well, where the hell is black at? Show it to me on the map. Can we go? Like, do I need to pack a coat? What do it snow? Like, what's going on in black? So we hear the Moors, and that was this, and that's why they said that, and it's like, nah, every other ethnic group on this planet, and see, because I'm a Native American, might I add, since I'm a Native American, because I'm born here, I have been subjected to seeing all of the different races that have crossed the seas, came across plane boats, whatever, swam, walked, some whatever, to get here. And they brought all of their faith, they brought all of their language, they brought all of their bread, all of their family, all their education, all of their structure, and everything that they brought from the old country, they set up right here.
Oh, yeah.
But we were already here. So why do I not see that for us? What I see set up for us is the projects, public housing. You see what I'm saying?
Well, we used to have it, but we got ran up out of it. I mean, even as Native Americans, bro. I mean, how do you think that people paid $5 to become Indians? That's where you get the $5 Indians from, where they came in and say that they're Native Americans and then sign deals and take land. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we dealt with stuff like, okay, yeah, this is the land, but the land is for everybody, right? They came and this is where the imaginary lines start coming in.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the invisible lines start getting drawn on the map to mark land. And then that's when they started putting fences around, and then you get your paint and you mark your territory. And it's like they just, I mean, hey, this is the result of conquest. Like I said, if we wouldn't have, if we wouldn't have been touched, I'll say, hey, we might be like Wakanda right now.
Well, I feel like we are the descendants of Abraham. I feel like we are, but what I feel is that Abraham might not be what we're told Abraham is. And because it said that his seed would be multiplied and would be as numerous as the stars in the heavens and as the sands of the sea, which cannot be counted by the human eye. You don't have that much time. You wasting your life. Right. You must not appreciate the life that you have if you're gonna sit there and just try to count some sand and look at the stars.
I mean, it's impossible to do, because you don't know who didn't had slept with who and who had kids with who.
So for us to think though that now we supposed to guess and assume, because they're not breaking it down like that okay, his seeds is just basically the offspring that started way back then. So we're not tripping off of how stuff get watered down and whatnot. But generally, you're able to trace it. So when you have that many, you lose. I mean, you lose count.
That's why the point right now is more so it's about just, number one, like we said, self-love, and then finding those kindred spirits, like what drives you and what pulls you to other people and how you connect with other people is at the end of the day what's important, right? Like you gotta connect with those, because it's impossible to know who's who. Like there's no, unless somebody had a DNA sample from Abraham, there's no real way for us to be like, oh yeah, like I know which one you came from over here. Or even when it comes to like the 12 tribes, right, of Israel, really 13 tribes, right? Like how can you truly determine? You can kind of see where people migrated, right? Like through history and stuff. Which is why, like I said, I don't personally subscribe to a tribe. Like sometimes you see people subscribe to a tribe and things of that nature, but if you look at how we intermingle with each other, it's like at the end of the day, it's just about following that path, right? Like it doesn't so much matter what tribe you come from, but really what you're doing to dedicate yourself to something better, right? Because in this path, right, you help out your brothers, right? Like one of the commandments was like not to watch your brother. If you saw your brother like in a fight, right, you're supposed to go help him.
Off top.
Like that should be common sense, right? Yeah. You know, that should be common. You should just know that, but it's like you don't see that. Half the time we are either fighting with them or we just gonna watch and be like, oh, you know, and
to make a circle. You know what I'm saying? Take out the phones nowadays. Like back in the day when I was coming up, like everybody make a circle around. You know what I'm saying? And so nobody could really see if it was teachers or whatever, like at school and whatnot. Even outside, it's gonna be a crowd. Everybody love to see a fight. You know, it's entertaining.
Right.
we, you know what I'm saying? But we're groomed that way. You got boxing. You know what I'm saying? We got wrestling. It's all Greek in a sense when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Even the football and it's nothing but the games. And so, but that's another episode.
Hey, that's a whole. Hey, we're gonna
have to
get into that.
But I look at it like it's nothing is coincidence, nothing is chance. All right. So if we have 12 tribes and then we say, okay, 13. Well, check it out. We got 12 zodiac signs. All right. So you had the sun, you got what? 13. Okay. All right. Now we know that planets revolve around the sun. Okay. So in a sense, they're following the sun. You see, and they all have their own roles that they play in. But I'm gonna show you one thing, and I'm gonna leave it right there. The woman, when they talk about her menstrual cycle, all right. Sometimes if it's a full moon, it can throw it off because menstrual is tied to the lunar. You see what I'm saying? So are we not supposed to pay attention to that? If the female, anatomy is affected, her genitalia, what all of that is affected by some of this, we say is whatever, how many miles away. What else up there is affecting us that we are not allowing ourselves to consider to be able to tap into or be able to adapt to consciously?
I feel you on that.
You see?
I see that we have a guest that was one who's joined. Her name is Miss James, I believe.
I saw it pop up, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to follow things. Y'all gotta forgive me. Hey, I'm not under a rock, but so I'm not used to this. I stay out of mind on the grind all the time. That's lifestyle. Hey, Mom, how you doing? There's my mama.
Hello, hi. How are you?
Beautiful.
I was just putting in a little sentence. I was going to say to touch on the topic you just got through talking about the lunar and the moon and women. That is a fact. And have you ever noticed in life, people always say, oh, it's a full moon tonight. Mm-hmm. They're acting out. You see what's going on? Because there are a lot of people whose emotions, they're attached to the lunar system. They start doing things, and you notice dogs and cats go crazy when things start going on. So they got some innate thing going on in them. So we are attached to the system that's built around us. We were put in here. And so a lot of people don't want to deal with that because it's a little bit too far-fetched for them to go out there with the mind, But I believe what he said was right. It's true.
Oh, thank you, Mama. See, now this is real life. Like what they say, no jumper. Like, no, this is a jumper right here. The jumper moment, as they say, but you can see I got it honest. You see what I mean?
Hey, shout out, Mr.
Now, but some things I know not to say to my mama. Because like you say, I ain't trying to, rub nobody the wrong way. I'm like, yeah, you can say that to me and I get you. I'm really with you, bro. But some people like, no. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. And so
you can't ignore those things. Like I say, man, like for the people who try to like dismiss spirituality in general, I mean, like I said, like you have to acknowledge energy exists. Like even science acknowledges that energy exists. Like you can call it whatever you want to, but there's an invisible force we can all interact with.
You know,
There's
that's
this
right.
invisible force that, like
That's
I say, you could be in a room full of 100 people, and you know the person that's staring at you out of that room of 100 people, like somebody could be way over there, and you're just gonna turn around and look directly at the person that's staring at you. You're gonna zone out everybody else and look at exactly who's
You can
staring
feel
at you.
that.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and it's also hot as a mug in that room too. If it ain't no AC on with 100
it
people,
is, but think about that. Think about that. Everything around you,
That's
all
right.
your senses, and you can about face it exactly what's the source is coming from. That's how connected we are to each other. That like there's sometimes where it's like I remember whenever my daughter was born, right? Like I wouldn't watch her sleep because she would wake up. Like me looking at her while she was sleeping.
Gumbo, baby, gumbo.
It's like she would feel me watching her, and then she'd look up and just be like, I'll be like, oh man, like I can't watch her while she's sleeping because she's feeling that energy being transferred to her. So you know, the idea of what you said, talking about the moon and the lunar, like I mean, just yes, women are affected, but like everybody, like we're all spiritual beings.
Right.
So that's why they say during a full moon is actually one of the times where people do a lot of like spiritually wicked things as well. Like a full moon is one of the highest times where spirits are at their like highest point. Like so that's why you, like you said, people acting out like. We gotta, like, one thing you realize is like spirits are everywhere, right? Like we, like, even if you don't want to call them that, like people call them emotions and stuff, right? Like example, when you see King Saul and how it said the Most High put an evil spirit on him, right? How did Saul start acting? Like an asshole. He started just acting way out of character, just angry. That was like you would look at him and be like, oh, that's his emotional state, right? But it's like it's also in another term that's in a spiritual state. He let an evil spirit, you know, into him, and that's allowing that to affect his day-to-day actions. Like we are a control of your choice, because at the end of the day, like you decide whether or not you're gonna enact whatever comes in your mind, because that's where it starts. The first thing it starts is you have to think about what you're about to do. Like if you're about to go rob a bank, you have to imagine yourself going in there to do that.
That's right.
If you don't
first, then the word, then the action. You see, then the habit, then the characteristics. You know what I'm saying? That become the destiny. But it all starts from the thought. You see, number one. So that is where I feel like our focus needs to be directed. Like it's one thing for us to want to search and find out and have questions about this flesh, but in all honesty, I'm gonna live forever and this flesh won't. So I'm more concerned with getting to know what's eternal, what's gonna stay, and instead of tripping off of what's gonna go. You see what I'm saying?
That's a beautiful place to be. That's the truth. Because the Lord said that this is the dirt, we going back to it, but the spirit is eternal. So yeah, we have to nourish the spirit. We have to.
Yeah, do you not know that you are the temple for the Spirit of God? So it's like it's so many keys that they put there for us to be at. You don't. It's like I look at religion like school. Like you got to get it to graduate. It's something you got to get. And okay, so you can go to Yale, you can go to Morehouse, but you go, you know what I'm saying, Cal, whatever. But you gotta go.
Right.
You gotta go. So if you really want to be able to play the game, you want to be able to excel. And truth be told, I'm like, yeah, I had a hard butt, you know, because my head was my hard head, so my butt got beat a lot, basically, in life.
Yeah,
the hard way. When they say the school of hard knocks, you know what I'm saying? So my kids stay in school. When they tell me, I used to be like, but I didn't get it. Now I'm telling kids, stay in school, do it. You know what I'm saying? Do not take knowledge.
We're out at a deficit without that.
Not, like this brother right here, Izzy. You see the way he's dropping it. This brother do a lot of reading. All praise due to the Most High. I thank God for you, brother. Most definitely.
Thank you.
You know, I am still here to ask questions though, but I do see things a little different than some people. Why? Because I'm different. I'm an individual. I'm supposed to, and we're supposed to embrace that. Yeah. You see,
that's how we learn. That's how we get new ideas to do stuff. Like like I said, like people really be misunderstanding like the Bible, right? Like really misunderstanding like how it intertwines. Like example, like whenever Moses got the children of Israel out, right? And he just started basically had to be in charge of millions of people and like to teach them. At one point, his father-in-law came up to him and was like, dude, you need to delegate some work to people. You're doing too much on your own. Like you can't do this all by yourself. And this was somebody not of his nation. This is somebody from a different nation, right? Coming to give him advice on how to run their nation. Because I'm watching you struggle.
You look stressed out, bro. You looking stressed out.
I'm watching this happen to you right now.
But you look like you got too much on your plate.
Exactly. So it's like that. This idea that it's like you can't take advice from other people, and you can't, borrow certain things from other people. It's like that's us connecting with other people is how we get to the stage like that we're at now. Like just spiritually, like sometimes people are at a different spiritual level. Like in that situation, right? Those people, they were called the Midianites. They were already serving the Most High prior to the Israelites even coming to them. How is that?
So with that being said, it's like if we allow ourselves to accept the fact that certain animals are indigenous to certain land masses and what they say, temperatures or whatever, climates, all of that. Okay, so that is something that is consistent. All right. So would the spirit have the same consistency as far as energy? Because energy doesn't dissipate, evaporate, or whatever. It just transforms. And even when you deal with like water that evaporates, it turns into a gas. It's still energy. It's just a different form. And then it's going to come back around and do its thing again. And so do you think, because it's a saying where they say for everyone that leave, another one enters. And I say it's
talking about like reincarnation or regeneration.
Winner, you see what I'm saying? So
I gotta make a comment on that statement because it is true what he just said. We noticed way back about say 10, maybe 11 years ago when we started losing some of our family members. And the Lord was allowing us to see that when he was getting ready to take one who was an older person, they're close in family, he was giving us a baby at the same time.
That literally happened with us.
It was happening so often.
So like I said, we're going to pay attention to what we see or we're going to ignore it.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. Like whenever my grandmother passed away, I think that was right whenever my wife was pregnant with my daughter, like right around that time. So it was like, and the same thing with my son. So it's like you definitely see those. You definitely see those patterns.
1989. I hope I said it right. We appreciate you more than you know. Please continue.
You got that experience. We all have that. I'm sure we just don't catch it all the time.
And please don't hesitate to do it again.
Okay, and shout out to I'm sorry. Let me not jack that up. Creatorz 1989.
I feel you. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Most definitely, we appreciate it. Love you too, man. This is what it's about: connecting with each other, being able to share these thoughts.
I'd like to say one more thing too. Well, you said a few minutes ago you were talking about everybody's not at the same spiritual level, and so that's why interconnecting, like you're doing, like right now, they're having the program and that. Because you can learn something for where you haven't gotten to yet, or they can bring you along to help you with maybe what you missed. And spirituality is like that. Some things like you pointed out about Moses with the children out in the Israel out there. The Lord did tell somebody, you gotta go help. He told him, break them down into 70s or something, do something. Then he got one of the guys to go and talk to him. Like you say, you look stressed out. You need
work smarter, not harder, man.
Yeah. Smarter, not harder. Yeah.
I mean, straight up. Like,
that's the same way with the Most High.
Greatest conquerors. Once he died, they didn't know what to do with everything that he had amassed, and so they had to break it up. And it's another episode, but I believe that this is still that we're looking in the fractioned up, Alexander the Great empire from what I see. I mean, when they talk about the European rule and all of that, that's what think.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I'm not going to speak on it like I know. So I mean, we could do some fact checks and, you know, Google Man or whatever. Yeah, round them up into it.
But yeah, no, I was gonna say too. I mean, like you see that with the Most High, right? That's why He created a hierarchy of Melachim or messengers. Like I don't like to use the term angels because that's more of a it has some weird connotations to it.
Like it's science fiction, more fantasy.
Yeah, like they were called messengers, right? Because like they came with a purpose. Like their message was whatever the message the Most High gave them. Like that's what they were there to deliver. So, but you see that the Most High delegates His work. Like when you're like, that's why people get confused over Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. They're like, oh, why are there two creation stories? It's like it's not. If you pay close attention, Genesis 1 is a blueprint. This is the setup to what's about to take place in chapter 2. That's why chapter 2, it actually says the Most High doing this. And then that's why you see corrections within that. You see corrections in what the Most High did. So when in Genesis 1, you see they say the birds of the field and stuff were made from water, right? But then in Genesis 2, you see that they're made from the ground because the Most High comes in and He gets the blueprint, overlooks it, and corrects it. It doesn't make sense for them to come from water, so let me make them come from the ground. It doesn't make sense to do this, so let me correct this here. So it's like that's why, like when people are looking at these stories and stuff and how to apply it to their lives, it's like you gotta take off everything that you thought you knew, and you gotta look at it from a completely different.
You gotta be willing to unlearn what you learned, and when you realize that you're reading a book that is a version of a book, you got to ask yourself what was wrong with the original. Number two, you got to say, all right, well, where is the original? Okay, now number three, we're dealing with a language that one word, you know, it could sound like one word you're used to, but that one word could also have different contexts and different definitions. And so then that's the rub. Therein lies the rub, as they say, where you can get lost.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely.
So it all depends on what level of diction in the American, you know what I'm saying, language you are familiar with. That's why schools, colleges, like when you're doing taxes or if you're a lawyer or law or whatever, that's why they say a fool represents himself. You see, some people got to go to jail to get themselves out. They got to study the language. You see, the lawyer is there to be an interpreter of the law on your behalf because you don't understand the language.
That legalese.
That's all it is. So when you understand that much about the language that we speak, then you know that you might think you know, but you got to also think that you don't. Because you have to make sure you know the original context, the way that this was meant to be said. Or it'll throw everything off like this. Shakespeare, they tell you that to die used to be to have an orgasm. But if you're not told that, you know, then why would they change it? You know, like I want to die. Like let's everybody mass suicide if that's the case. You see what I'm saying? I mean, let's be honest. But when you're talking about think about it, like no, value life. You know what I'm saying? No, you know, if we all gotta go, so be it. But the flesh.
I mean, but that's what language. I mean, like especially with the American. I mean, look at the term "kick rocks."
Yes.
Like what kick rocks
actually right? Yeah.
The actual action, like you want me to go kick some rocks? It's like no, that means go die. Like it's like that's ridiculous. It's crazy. So like you got to look at
someone else. Huh?
Those same things in other languages. Like these people, especially knowing that. And you know another cool thing that you can also tell, because like I said, when we get back down to like the main topic of like, you know, why it is or what it is that we're looking at or believing in, like I said, so you can go through this society right now pretty much believing in anything, but for some reason when you claim to be an Israelite, you start getting doors blocked. You start getting people getting pissed off at you and higher levels of government not wanting you to acknowledge this kind of information. You know, you start seeing people look at Nick Cannon, right? Look at what Nick Cannon said, and look at how he had to go and retract his statements if he
And
wanted
see, now I remember hearing about
his
that.
career on
I
track.
remember hearing about that.
Because he
But I
talked
can't say
about it. He talked
I got no
about
specifics.
even Professor Griff, you know,
Oh, definitely.
like
But okay,
he subscribes to the same thing. Like, we are those people from the book. Like, otherwise, why was he getting targeted the way that he was getting targeted when he was talking about this kind of information? Like, why did they only pick on him? Like, why are they only picking on the people who are expressing this? But then, even then,
because
you
of
go
the
look
power
at,
of words. At
and then
the
you
end
can,
of the day, we must acknowledge the power in the tongue, because in the very beginning it says, "Let there be," and there was, and it was good. So everything started being created with the word.
With the word.
Period. So
Yeah.
no matter what we are doing, we must be conscious of the words that we are hearing, because what does it say? See none, hear none, speak none. What's none? Evil. All right. So if you are accepting that you discurse people, well, guess what? As a man thinketh, so he
So
is.
is. Amen.
but hey,
That's
but that's the
true.
thing. Those people are also blessed. See, people focus only like
Because they think they blessed. So
I'm a
you gotta see that
glass
you.
half full kind of guy. See, the first part of that book starts off with the blessings, not the curses. Me, I prefer to have the blessings, not because the curses, if you truly look at them, they are situations and outcomes
It's cause and effect.
they put
It's law.
themselves in, right?
That's
Because
it.
you did these things happen to you. Because you went away from your protection, the power that you served that protected you. Now all of a sudden these other people have the strength to come and overtake you. Like, think about the times where people are in situations where they're like, I don't know how I got out of that, but then it's
No
like,
word. No word. But here, all praise due
it
to
was
the
the
Most
Lord,
High.
you
No,
know.
we ain't taking no credit. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, we walking in the spirit right now. Let's get it. Let's eat for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But yeah, you know, it's like,
No. Just take your time.
Yeah.
See, that's proof of walking in the spirit. That's what I'm talking about right there. Because the flesh don't know what we talking about.
I know. Hey, it got so
This
elevated.
ain't scripted, bro. This is not scripted. We did not go over this. This is all real time in the moment, flat out. So what we talking about? The mind don't know. It's trying to keep up, but the spirit is going with what it knows, because it's all knowing.
It is.
But I like
Everything
that.
is relevant. Einstein's theory of relativity, E equals MC squared. Everything's relevant. You see what I'm saying? That's why you can flow like you do. I'm like, that's why I'm like, yeah, hats off to you, bro. I see you, bro. I see you. You see what I'm saying? For sure. Like Kyle, you know what I'm saying? Our people, you know what I'm saying? Like Mike, yeah, they knew what they was doing. They took into put two major ingredients in the pot to get it done, so that we can bring everybody together and start to build this collective that we are saying we could have if we didn't let the flesh get in the way and all of these other schools of thought and religion, and which really is spiritual dictatorship in a sense. Because I don't care if you deaf, dumb, blind, dense, you can feel if you shouldn't do some shit. And that's the truth.
You say, consciously, unconsciously, you've been
I mean,
told.
come on, man. I'm just saying. And then when the person go against it, what end up happening? Something told me I shouldn't.
Hey, there it goes right there.
What are we talking about here?
Your spirit always talks to you.
Yes, that's it.
So I said all that to say this.
That was a
I said all that to say this. Almost definitely. You know what I'm saying? We've been prepping. You know, we got more to go on the stove. It's more to come. So if you understand that much, then you can actually start to write your own Bible, because you created in the likeness, in the image thereof. So if I am a child of God, at some point, just like a child of man must grow to either become a woman or a man. They can't stay a baby. They can't stay a child. What's the scripture say? Well, when I was a child, I did childish things. But when I grew, I put away childish things. So are we just referring to the flesh? Or are we talking about the child of God that must become the God?
You better get a book of wisdom on
Hey,
that too. Get a
hey,
book of
If you
wisdom
don't,
to
so if
write
you
on
don't
you
that.
know
hitting
who you
it.
are,
You hitting
then
it.
you can't walk in your royalty. You can't embrace the lineage. You talking about where you come from. You see what I'm saying? Like really, that's brass tacks. That's brass roots. That's it. That's the foundation for me. You see, because that's how we used to say, "Oh, we all brothers and sisters. You know, we all God's children." Well, what do they mean? So then we should be able to actually look like that. See, I told my wife, I said, "Baby, yeah, okay, I know, yeah, thank you, I appreciate the compliment, but you don't have to worry about me out here scrambling, running up after no other women at all. Like, trust me, before I was 23, I had done enough and saw what I needed to see. You know, only difference is love, respect, honor, admiration, commitment, loyalty. You know what I'm saying? These things. So
those things, people that don't remember those
history.
things.
You
They
know what I'm
don't remember
saying?
that.
You know, birds of a feather, all of this. You see what I'm saying? Being able to go through it, being, you know, tried, proven, tested, all of that. You see. But how do I do it? It's because everybody faced temptation. You would be a lie if you said you didn't. And that's why we had the hypocrites and stuff came to the light when it came down to it. And I ain't throwing no stones, but it's a particular religion out here, and it's like people that give up stuff and say that they not gonna do stuff no more, and they live in this place, and they got little boys that they hang out with, lighting candles, and then all of a sudden somebody find out that what you was doing back there with the curtain closed. You see, so okay, because you have natural tendencies.
But then it goes into carnality. It gets
so to
carnality.
deny them
It's what you desire.
is setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So
you got to police yourself. Police yourself.
Yeah. You know, it's like when somebody in the hood, you know, and they want to trust the cat that just moved in, or the guy that's trying to buy something from them or whatever, that they know other people say you're not supposed to be able to buy and you're not supposed to be able to sell it. Well, I got to see how you get down. You got to show me that you one of us, basically.
You got to sit back and observe for a minute.
Let me see you inject it. Let me see you.
Hey,
see,
observation is key. Observation is key.
There you go. That's what I said just now. You got to sit back and observe for a moment. You can't just go in everybody's house because you're my new neighbor. I'm going to visit you every other day. I'll be over to check on you. No, just stand back from the distance and look.
Everybody ain't got your best interest at
hand. No. But we can if we understand who we truly are. You know, remember I said that, okay, like I was in like junior high school when I had like one of my brothers, his name was Elton, you know what I'm saying? And we was on some knucklehead stuff, you know what I'm saying, wanting to be hip, and you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we did all of that. But he brought to my attention, you know, like the black man is God. Wait a minute. My mama heard this, boy, I'd be in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I'd be rebuked up and down, you know what I'm saying? Olive oil, you know what I'm saying? I rebuke you, you know what I'm saying? The devil is a liar, you know what I'm saying?
Man,
but
look at all them.
The seed was being planted then. But they lost me with the distinction, black. But look at me. I mean, you talking to somebody that, like I said, you might have me say it last week, you hear me say it again. I used to try to see if my skin matched the person that, like the lightest person that I saw. Like, I'm trying to sit next to them and hope they don't trip off of me. Because I was really tripping off. I thought it was something wrong with me. This is real talk. Because that's my mama right there. And her mother, your complexion. You see what I'm saying? So and my uncles, you know what I mean? Like my cousins, like I'm the only one look like this. So I'm like, what's the deal, man?
That's just like when they had the babies and the slaves were raped and they didn't know what color that baby was going to come out. And they would hide that pregnancy until they saw that baby come out before they let anybody else see that child, because they had to figure out whose child is this. And if it's a white woman having a black man's baby, you know what? She's going to be put out of her own home. Her own husband going to put her out. But they were sneaking about doing things just like the white man was sleeping about with the black slaves. So you never know what seed's going to pop out. You just never know. We have people who have hid that for years. Native Americans mixing with black, Native Americans mixing with white. So we are all mixed up. The seed is all mixed up.
Is it Mama Jones's daddy was like a full-blooded Irish man?
He was white man.
Yeah, Irish.
Yeah,
But hey,
Robert
now,
Hamilton. He
you know,
was a
they
white
wouldn't allow him to
Hey,
be white at first.
Yeah.
Now,
I
they used
got,
to
I
get
got,
treated the worst. Now, and now out of the European or whatever, the Irish were the niggas.
Yeah, that's why they drink and
I
celebrate
got
with
Irish
whiskey.
I got Irish on my side too.
You
You
see what I'm
do?
saying? So
One of my great grandfathers, I forget, because it's crazy. That's how we found out. I was like looking into like some stuff in my family history, and dude, like it inspired me to like want to know more about him, particularly because what he did was extremely dangerous during the time. Like, this was a black man that got with a white woman in the 1800s, early 1800s, where like they were still lynching you and like
Yeah.
taking you out
what
for
would
this
make
kind of
him risk
activity.
that, bro? What would make him risk
Exactly.
that, bro? Love, bro. You can't see.
Like,
Because what
especially
I
knowing
see
like
is
that
you
they
crazy.
travel.
Yeah.
That
He
they
is.
travel from like and during that time, bro, that's a death sentence.
It was.
That's a death
But that,
sentence.
see, they had purity in heart then. They weren't focused on this and this agenda behind racism. It's agenda behind it. People come with that mentality because they know if I oppress you, keep you thinking that you're less than and that I'm superior, think I'm in control. And that's what it's about. But
United we stand,
he had a
divided
heart
we
to
fall.
love a
That's
woman
it. That's
that
it.
they
That's a
didn't
whole
want
nother
to have.
nutshell. And when we can be honest with ourselves, like you hear me say, well, are we gonna acknowledge this, or are we just gonna keep overlooking it? So once we can acknowledge these things, you see what I'm saying, and say we see all of these dividing lines, then they will disappear. They will disappear. Because you can only, trick me if I don't know I'm being tricked.
Right. Like the.
But once I see, oh, that's the wire right there.
Right.
Oh, that's the button. That's the pulley. Oh, gig is up, bro. That's it. And you know what I'm saying? You ain't the Wizard of Oz. That like we thought you were.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but I'm also kind of trying to make sure that I tread lightly, because I don't want to offend anybody and push anybody away. And I don't want to be, what they say, blasphemy or heresy or whatever. I don't want none of those. So I'm like, okay, I know I don't know everything. When my grandfather say, and I've said it before, he who knows not knows that he knows not is a wise man. You see, but he who knows not but thinks that he knows and goes on like he knows is a fool. So you got to definitely be mindful of that. So if we can all accept each other, that's why I asked if you think that the energy is indigenous to the land mass, just like the different animals or like you said, body structure or whatever, because I feel like it's only one source. You see, so true indeed, the planet, the dirt, the earth, all of that, that's broke up, that's separated. The flesh is, but the devil is a lie. When we realize that the devil that we're dealing with is the flesh, it's the pride, it's the envy, the jealousy, even though jealousy and envy are similar, but they have two different, what they say, motives. Jealousy, like they say, God is a jealous God. Jealous can be out of love. Envy is out of hate. You know what I'm saying? Basically, because somebody can get too close to somebody that you love, and you don't like that too much.
Jealousy comes with a tag of it is as cruel as the grave. So jealousy can kill, it can murder. And if you break down jealousy all the way down to the root of it, you can find a lot of things involved in jealousy: manipulation, control, fault blaming, fault finding, because you want someone else to look bad so that you can look good because you're jealous of the way they already look. People do things like that. You got to break words down. There's a tree. I studied with the ministry one time, and this lady was very, very knowledgeable. Her name was Clark, Elsie Clark. And she had a tree. And on the tree, she showed you the different facts that would come with a personality trait. And you had to watch out for that. So when you're dealing with one thing in a personality, look for the other 2, 3 that's coming with it. because there's going to be several others, and you got to learn what you're dealing with when you're dealing with different personality traits. Just like with the jealousy, murder comes, things like that. People don't realize. People get jealous and take you out. Like I said, that man on TV that shot George Floyd. That man worked with George Floyd in a club on weekends sometimes. That man knew him. He was jealous of him. He was so jealous of him he couldn't see straight. So when he got called on the call and saw who it was, he said, I believe I'll take him out. And that's truth.
Wow. Well, we're gonna say we're not show mom because we wasn't there.
I wasn't there, but the fact is, I didn't know he worked with him.
I'm not trying to correct you, but we got to be politically correct, and we want people to keep tuning in. So
okay.
No, I feel you on that, but no, I think this is a good place to go ahead and in the conversation here.
Put the ball on it, man. Okay.
Put that on there right there. That way we can give the people some more next week, because man, this just gave me a whole lot of ideas and stuff that we can discuss. I love what you brought out about jealousy. Jealousy is a big thing.
It is
right, and that's it, though, bro. When you see it that way, you like loyalty and jealousy. They both play a major part. Because I'm gonna be loyal to my God. I mean, you married, ain't you, bro? If I'm not mistaken, I don't mean to mess up your fan base, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying?
No. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So you know what it takes as a black man. It's one thing to be a man, but to be a black man and hold that down with everything that has been set up to make your foundation, your castle, be a glass house.
Yeah.
You see, when you're dealing with DNA that's been tainted with the tears and the fears of rape, you see what I'm saying? And pillaging and disrespect. And I'm talking about rape of both sexes. You see? But then to have the woman feel like my husband couldn't protect me. Whether she know for a fact that he couldn't do nothing about it or not. In her mind, she like, well, you might as well at least put up a fight and die because we dead anyway. And I feel you, baby, straight up. But when they done broke enough of us down and we like, okay, self-preservation is a must. Somebody got to stick around and procreate so that we don't all be wiped out.
Yeah.
You see? So, but that still don't go away until we can get it rectified, until we can get some vindication, some justification. You see what I'm saying?
But all that. This time that we've gone through as the Black culture, I hate that they just label us Black culture, because we have 3-4 different races in our life, and that's just a horrible place for people to put you with one label when you got 4 different races and blood flowing through you. They made you like that. But you know what? The stigma that comes with it, like you just mentioned, Black people got to wake up every day. Black men especially got to go out on the street. They got to take care of their family. Got to worry about who's coming after them because of the skin color. So the stigma is sticking to them. You got to have people that's going to rise up. And we've got so many that are rising up now trying to stand up for change for us, so that they can make it different for the ones that's coming up under us, because they don't have the full history. They don't know the whole story.
That's it.
When you don't know the whole story, you're at a deficit to start with. So you're starting out at zero, really, when you've already lived up to about 75, but you don't know it because you didn't get the facts. You didn't get all the pieces.
Absolutely. But you know where they can get these pieces from? Right Unapologetically
every Monday, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Tune in on any coast you at. You know what I'm saying? We got the knowledge for y'all. You got the facts, I got the questions. You already know. It's a wrap. Thank you,
make sure y'all follow us on social media. It's your boy Azrael, aka Izzy Wildstar at Yehudi Gang. Follow me on all social platforms.
AKA Big Facts. Most definitely.
And also, don't forget Atmosphere Candles. We got you. All your candle needs. We ship out all across the U.S. That's Atmosphere with a Z, not an S. So just put that in there. You got to get it nice and fancy. But we ship out all across the U.S. right now. So go check us out on our website, and be looking forward to this next week.
Most definitely. You know what I'm saying? May your entrepreneurial endeavor, all of them, be multiplied and prosperous. You know what I'm saying? For sure. And you be able to teach some other people how to do what you're doing, so these youngsters can get that dough and not be standing in the unemployment line and trying to fill out an application, figuring out what they're gonna do to be a part of the slave plantation.
Absolutely.
Hands on the entrepreneur. That's great.
Shout out to
this America, right? That's what it was for. You know what I'm saying? Free enterprise, freedom of religion, free enterprise. Yeah. The marketplace.
That's what it say on the brochure, but
it's so funny.
I just want to give a shout out to the culture creators for allowing us to do what we do here. So big ups to y'all and everything that y'all do, and much love. And yeah, family. Thank y'all again for tuning in. I can't wait till next week.
It was great.
I'm Nicky Sparko. Now I carry Christ inside, saying chapters and rhymes poetically organized. Till the next time, y'all tune in. All right.
Thank you for joining us, Miss James. It was a lovely meeting you.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. Enjoyed.
Glad to have you on with us.
Yes, we'll see you on the next time. Be safe. Love you.
All right, peace.
All right.